and welcome to my beginner's guide to mosaic crochet. Today it's time for lesson number 4. Today I want to show you how to work mosaic crochet in the round. And just in case that you haven't seen my first 3 classes, in the first one I showed you all the basic techniques, which is really simple and easy, and we're left with all these ends as you remember. And then in the second one, I showed you how to work with my charts, and we did this one. And in the third one, we did the double border that hides all the ends. Okay, so that was lesson 1, 2, and 3. If you haven't checked those out already, do consider doing so. Today, we're gonna do mosaic crochet in the round. And we're gonna do this little tiny swatch here just to show you how to do the joining, which is the most important part. Also, I want to show you because most of my patterns are just chart patterns, yeah? So they're chart designs, so they are really quite versatile in their nature, in that way that you can work them flat or you can work them in the round. So in this tutorial, I want to show you as well how to work this little chart, which is written up for a flat pattern, how to do it in the round too. So really, with my patterns, most of them you can work it flat and make a blanket or a scarf or placemats or what have you. And you can also work it in the round, and then we have even more possibilities. Even in the last couple of views that I've released, I always write it up both flat and in the round. But I show you now also the trick to use the flat ones in the round. So, and just to give you an idea of what we can do with mosaic crochet in the round is these little purses here, which is lovely, really fun. These are great for scraps, you guys. And you can work these with all kinds of different patterns, obviously. And then there are cushions, obviously. And this one actually, this is my deep sea handbag. I made it as a handbag, and you see it has the zipper and all. Whoop! But I ended up using it as a cushion, but you can make handbags as well. Then another idea is to do like this little pencil jar case that I did. And that's just, this is just a jar from some old jam or something that I obviously cleansed, and then worked this little piece here in the round and popped it onto it. And I really like it. It's really decorative and nice and great for scraps as well. You need very little to do that. And last but not least, I wanted to show you my latest pattern, Arabia, which I decided, it comes both in written version and charts for working in the flat and in the round, but I made mine in the round like so. And I'm really actually quite happy with this one. And just to show you a close-up here of the join, so you can see it's here, and I mean, it is visible, it's handmade. A join is always a join, but it's quite neat and it stays in the same place. So that's really what I wanted to show you today with our little swatch here. Okay, so let's get to it. Mosaic crochet in the round, you guys. Okay, so like I said, today I'm going to show you how to work mosaic crochet in the round. And this gives so many possibilities, like you can see here, and I already showed you in the intro. And one of the best things about this is that when you're using just 2 colors, then you don't have to deal with the ends, because we just carry them on up, because we're joining in this when we're working in the round, obviously, yeah? Just a quick recap of what we've been doing in this beginner's guide to mosaic crochet. In the first lesson, I showed you the technique and how to make the Apache tier swatch. And in the second lesson, then I showed you how to work with my charts and showed you how to do this one here. And in the third lesson, then I showed you the double border, which hides all the ends and just gives a lovely finish as well. So if you haven't checked out number 1, 2, and 3, please do so. Today it's taken me a while to get to doing this one, because I really felt like I had to do some kind of a project, but I'm just going to show you all the projects that are available and just going to do a little swatch with you to show you how to work it, really. Because that's what I'm doing here. It's more technique than projects, really. So, but what I wanted to do is to show you how to work, because all my patterns, most of them, it can be like most of my patterns are chart patterns, yeah? So you can work them either in the round or flat. Even though my project, the one that I show you with the pattern, isn't in the round, you can always work it in the round as well. And in my recent patterns, more recent patterns, then I've started actually to write it up, both how to do it in the round and flat. But just to show you how to work with the charts when, for example, here is a chart that I did for a flat pattern. This is pattern 6 of my Indiana Afghan. So the thing is that I put the patterns up, like organize them. This is not good English. Okay, I'll just keep going. I do them the same way, really, if it's in the round or flat. So for example, here, like I showed you in lesson 2, this symbol here would usually mean the border stitch at the beginning of the row, when we're working it flat. Then when working in the round, I just keep this same symbol here in the beginning, and that will be the chain stitch at the beginning of the round. And here, the last stitch here, which would be the border stitch at the end of row, when we're working it in the round, then that is the slip stitch that we use to join. So you can work exactly the same with exactly the same charts for my patterns in the flat as in the round. I hope I'm getting this across clearly. And another thing that I wanted to say is that when you're working something flat, like this one here, then you will often have, this is the repeat part, and then there's a second repeat here. And then sometimes they will have an extra column here, one extra stitch at the end of the row to get it to be symmetrical with the beginning, you see, so that the end of the row looks as like the beginning of the row. But all this is, redundant when working in the round, because when we're working in the round, there are no extra stitches. We're always just working the repeat. So if you have one of my charts and you want to change it from flat and into the round, then just focus on the repeat part. They're always marked with thicker lines, you see. And then what is here, the border stitch at the beginning of the row will turn into being the chain at the beginning of round. And this one here, which is usually the border stitch at the end of the row when working in the round, that's the slip stitch we use to join. Okay, lots of rambling on then. I will get to it now. So just to clarify, I'm just going to do a tiny little swatch with you guys, just to show you how to both work the charts in the round, and also basically it's the join that's the important part here. Yeah, so let's get closer in and get these things here out of the way. Okay. Okay, so depending on the chart that you're using, the pattern that you're using, you will have to see if how many stitches you need to do. This one here has a repeat of 8 stitches, so I'm going to chain up a multiplication of 8. This varies between patterns again, you guys. And actually, there's one thing I wanted to show you here. Like sometimes I wouldn't even, like here, this is not exactly, I just ended it where it ended because I needed a certain amount of stitches, and then it didn't fit quite. And well, I'm pieces, so I'm don't really care, but it is nicer to have it obviously neat. So we start by chaining up a multiplication of 8. I'm going to do 4 repeats, but I'm not going to be working all the repeats because these tutorials are getting very long, and I wanted to make this one a bit quicker if possible. I'm using just the ones that I've been using the whole way for this series. I'm using the Peruvian Highland wool, which is Aran weight, and I'm using a hook that is 4.5 millimeters large, and all my terminology is always US terms, you guys. So let's get started. So like I said, when you're chaining up in these, you don't have to, because in the other ones it's always like a multiplication of 8 and then add to that 3 stitches or what have you. When in the rounds, it's only the multiplication, no extra stitches, you guys. So I'm gonna start here and do 4 times 8. 8, 8, 8, okay, so I have 4 times 8 chains here. And when you're working in the round, and this will work, you can use this little tip for other projects as well. It doesn't have to be Mosaic Crochet, but when you're working in the round, you could now just join, you see here. But when you're working a big piece, actually, there is always this possibility that your chain will, how do you say, it will get twisted, yeah. So we don't want that. So usually what I will do is I will work the first round just straight into the chains, and then I will join, because then you can better see what you're doing. And I know I said no extra stitches, and that is true, but we do need 1 extra stitch here, the extra chain here, because now I want to have a multiplication of 8, and this is just the 1 extra here when I turn, because I can't work into the first one, yeah. So 4 times 8 chains, and then add 1 just so that we're able to turn, okay. And now I'm going to work what is this, 16, 32 stitches, just single crochet stitches all the way back, because in the first 2 rounds, always when mosaic crocheting, there's nothing happening. You need these first 2 foundation rounds to be just all single crochets, so that you have something to work onto. So chain up 32, 1 extra for the turn, and then work 32 single crochet stitches back, just to do this little tiny sample here. Okay, so that's 32 single crochet stitches I've got here then, and you can use this for any kinds of patterns. So then your final stitch count will vary, obviously. Just think that you want the repeat and an exact multiplication of your repeat. So if your repeat is 12 and you want 4 repeats, then you do 4 times 12s, etc. Okay, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to be doing 4 times an 8 stitch repeat. So that's 32 stitches here. And now I am going to join. And as you can see, it's easier to join now when I have these stitches made, because the chain, and especially, I mean, it's always easy when you have a small sample like this, but for example, when you're making a big pillow or what have you, then it can be a bit tricky to get it to be straight like this, and you don't want it to be, twisted, yeah? So when we join the first round, then we're going to join here into the first single crochet of the round. I like to join into just the back loop. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I want to join with the other color. Always join with the upcoming color, yeah? So now we go on to color B, which is for round 2. And so now I join here, and I'll join into the back loop just with a slip stitch, like so. And I'm going to do 1 chain here. Okay. And the most important part about the join really is always just to tighten it very nicely. So take care that your piece is not twisted. You see that it's all flat and there's no twisting going on. and join with a slip stitch into the back loop of the first single crochet of the round. Okay, and next round, round 2, oops, let's do this then. Great analog solution. Round 2 is with color B, and it's all just single crochet stitches as well. And now we're not going to cut the end, you guys. Now we are going to keep our end, our tail here, because we'll be picking it up for the next round. It's always A, B, A, B, the colors switching. And now for this round, we're just going to do 1 single crochet into the back loop of each and every stitch. So we did the join with the slip stitch and then 1 chain here, and now we're going to work 1 single crochet into the back loop of each and every stitch of this round, and now we're using color B. And since we're doing mosaic crochet, it's always into the back loop, you guys. Okay, and now we get to the little tiny trick. You see how it had turned like this? That's no problem. We just pop it right out like so. And now we get to the, really, this is the only bit you need to remember with the join, because the thing is, in crochet in general, your stitches tend to go a bit sideways, yeah, because it's not like knitting, it's not quite on top of it, they're always kind of going to the left. So in order to, because when you're doing something like this, you would want your join to be at the same spot. Yeah, we don't want to be going this way or anything, we just want it to be here. So in order for it to have it stay put, not running out on us, this is how I do the joins. Okay, so you work into every stitch now, and here is the last single crochet stitch, and here is the slip stitch that we use to join. You see this last white one here, that's the slip stitch that we use to join at the end of round 1. Yeah, so we're just going to work into the last single crochet, and then we are going to skip this slip stitch. This is sort of like tugging it this way so that it will stay in line. And we're going to join with the upcoming color. So you work the last single crochet of the round with color B, because that was round 2. All the even number rounds are in color B. And now that we're going to join with the upcoming color. And so this is the slip stitch here from last round. We're going to skip that one, and we're going to work a slip stitch into the back loop of the chain that you did at the beginning of this round 2. Yeah, so now we join into the chain, back loop of the chain at the beginning of the same round, the current round that we're finishing, and just with a slip stitch all the way through like that. Yeah, and tighten it. I cannot stress it strongly enough how important it is to do the join tightly. That is really like at least half of it, that to get a neat join, you want it all very tight. There's nothing nastier than like a loose joining. Please never, just do me a personal favor and don't do loose joining. That's just awful. It's just awful. Okay, I'm off track. Yeah, so it was the slip stitch. I joined with a slip stitch, and now we continue on to round 3, and I am going to show you the chart for that. Yeah, but that was the joining at the end of round 2, and we joined with the new color. Okay. On to round 3, and now we're going to just take a quick look at the chart. It's a very easy chart, this one. Very simple one. I just wanted to use a chart at least to show you how to change the flat charts into the round. Okay, so we've done this one here was the first right one, and actually here it says 1 for the blue. We'll just use our imagination and say that this was the round 2 that we were working on here, and then now round 3 is again white, you see, and it starts with 1 chain, and then we do 2 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single crochets, and then it's 3 and 5 always. Okay, so we did the joining with the slip stitch, and now we're going to do 1 chain and always tighten everything very nicely here. And now we start the pattern. So we do now 2 double crochets, and just one thing, if you're worrying about this here, you see that because we joined not with the chains, but after doing the first round, there's a little bit of a gap here, but that is just obviously something that we will use this tail later on to sew together, and you won't notice it at all. Okay, so on with the chart. Round 3, the repeat here is now 2 double crochets, and remember, find the stitch that you normally would go into, follow it down and go into the next stitch here, and pull your yarn up from the stitch we're working into. Then we have 3 loops on our hook, and we yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, just a normal DC, but worked 1 round down. Check out lesson 1 if you're insecure about this one. Yeah, so another DC here, and next up there are 5 single crochets, always taking care to check here that we have 2 here in the back. Yeah, don't want to be increasing. The single crochet is always going to the back loop. Whoops. 3, 4 and 5, and now we do 3 double crochets, and 5 single. US terms, you guys, always. They just make much more sense, don't they? And again, 3 double crochets. And 5 single. Oops. The 5th one here. Okay, so now we've done 1, 2, 3. We're on to our finishing this 3rd repeat here. 3 double crochets, and 5 single. And now we finish with 1 double crochet because we have 2 here, right? We started with 2, but it's always 3 in between. So we finish with 1 double crochet here. And that's this stitch here. We follow it down and go into this one. That's round 3. And now we're going to join. And as you can see, it's a bit wobbly here now. But as soon as I just tug at it, everything is so nice and neat. Yeah. Always joining tightly, you guys. It's so very important. Okay. And now, just to show you clearly here, remember at the join, then now we're supposed to join with the new color, with the next color, color B, always joining with the color that's coming up next so that it pops up at the right spot. Yeah. So we're going to join with color B. And as always, we're going to skip this slip stitch here, the last stitch of this round. Just gonna go extra close here for you guys to see. This is the chain stitch at the beginning of round 3. This is the slip stitch that we use to join at the end of round 2. I'm going to skip the slip stitch so that our join will stay in place, and we're going to join into the back loop of this chain here at the beginning of the current round. And I was doing it so very nice and tightly that it's a bit difficult to get into, but that's okay. I will prevail. You've got nothing on me. I'm talking to the stitch, by the way, not you guys. Ah! There we go. Yeah, I'm into it. Okay, so that's the back loop of the first chain at the beginning of this round, and I'm going to join there with a slip stitch with the new color, like so. And then I pull here so that everything is nice and neat here. Okay. I mean, as you can see, a join is always a join, so we can see a bit of a join here, but once we finish, I'll show you. It doesn't really show very much. Okay, so that's the end of round 3. Finishing there with 1 double crochet and the slip stitch join. On to round 4, which is named, of course, named round 3 on my chart, but you know, you can't have it all, can you? So you can see it's the same color, it's blue now. So we start with the 1 chain at the beginning of the round, and then we have 1, 2 single crochets, 1 double crochet, 3 singles, 1 double, and then 1 single here. So basically it's 3 here in a row. Okay. 1 chain at the beginning of the round, because that's the one we're going to join into later. And then we start by working 2 single crochets, and they go into the back loops of our double crochets from last round, like so. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet down here. And remember, you're always doing the double crochets into stitches of the same color as you have on your hook. And then we do 3 single crochets. And 1 double down here. Yeah. And then single crochets over the double crochets. That's 3 single crochets, 1 double. The repeat here really is 1 double, 3 single. 3 single and 1 double here. So we're kind of making a little framing down here in between our double crochets from last round. This is a very simple pattern, but it's nice, I think. I used it in the border for my Havana, and it's one of the patterns for Indiana. 1 double down here, 3 singles and a double, 3 singles over the double crochets, 1 double down here, 3 singles, a double, and then we finish with 1 single crochet into the double crochet from the end of last round. And now, as before, we're going to skip this. Now we change colors because we're going to do the join in the upcoming color, in the white and color A. And as always, we skip this last stitch here of the round, which is the slip stitch that we joined with at the end of last round, yeah? And we're going to join with a slip stitch into the back loop of the first chain of the current round that we're doing. And now we use color A because that's the upcoming color. Just 1 slip stitch there through, and always do it nice and tight. I'm pulling at everything. Okay, so that's round 4. On to round 5. And in round 5, which is 4 here, we do the chain at the beginning of the round, and then the repeat is 3 single crochet, double, single, double, and 2 single crochet, and that's a total of 2 plus 3 here. It's 5 single crochets in between always. Yeah, you can see here. Okay, so this was the join. I already did the join, the 1 slip stitch here, and we start each round with 1 chain. That's the one that we're going to join in at the end of the round. And now it was what? 3 single crochets. Single crochets always go into the back loop. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to do 1 double crochet here, 1 single, and 1 double. So we're kind of making boxes inside of boxes, you see? And then it's 5 single crochet. Whoop-a. The last single crochet lands here in the double crochet, you see? And now in between these 2 double crochets here, we're going to do a double, single, and a double. So 1 double, that one goes down to the white because we have white on our hook. 1 single and 1 double. And again, 5 single crochet. You guys keep telling me that it's good that I go slow and show everything, so I hope that's the truth, because I think this is a lot of repetition, but you know, you can always fast forward. So that was the 5 single crochets, and then we have another here, double, single, double. Yeah. And again, 5 single here. And between these 2 here, we're going to do a double, single, double. And now we finish it off with 2 single crochets, because we started with 3 and we're always doing 5 in between, yeah? So we had 3 and now we do 2 to get the final 5. 1 and 2. And as always, we're going to skip the last stitch of the round, this slip stitch here. That's the one we skip to get it to be even. This is really all I want to show you, how you do the joining. The other is just for fun, really. But the join is always the same, you guys. It's always the same. Doesn't matter the pattern you're using, which chart, whatever. It's always the same. So skipping the last stitch, which is the slip stitch that we use to join, and we're going to join with a slip stitch into the first stitch of the current round, which is the chain, and always into the back loop, you guys. And we're going to join with the upcoming color so that it pops up at the right spot. Yeah, so 1 slip stitch into the back loop of the chain. Okay, so that's round 5 all joined up. On to round 6. It's this one here, 5 on the chart. What do you think about me finding that funny at the beginning of each and every round? Okay, yeah. So it's the blue. So we're gonna start with 1 chain here at the beginning of the round. Then we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet, 1 double, and 1, 2, 3 single crochet. So that's now here 7 single crochets and 1 double. That's the repeat, really. Okay. We'd already joined with our slip stitch, always tightening everything very nice and tight at the join, you guys. It's so very important. And now we start with 1 chain, and we're going to do, what did I say? I said 4 single crochets, 2 and 3 and 4. The 4th lands here in the double crochet from the last round. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet here in between the 2 double crochets from last round. Like so. And now it's 7 It's just this lone single crochet there in the middle always in this round. 6 and 7, the 7th lands here in the double crochet, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet here in the middle, like so, and again 7. 5, 6, 7, and the single crochet, and a double crochet goes here in the middle, always into blue when we have blue up on our hook. Yeah, and again 7, and then 1 double crochet here in between those two. And now we're going to finish with 1, 2, 3, because we started with 4 and we want 7 in total. So we always want to have the pattern over the join is supposed to look like the pattern on the other parts of it, right? So we end with 3 single crochet stitches here. And as always, we're going to skip this last stitch of the round, which is the slip stitch from the join of round 5. I'm going to tuck at it nice and tight like so. And again here I was overzealous in making everything very tight here in the beginning, but it is worth it. It really is worth it. So now we're going to join into the first chain of the current round, and as you can see, it's very small and tight, but it's okay because I've got the force with me. So into the back loop there, join with a slip stitch with the upcoming color like so, and tighten everything. And even if it makes it a bit difficult to tighten, to work into the stitch, it is worth it to get a neater join here to do everything very tight. So that was round 6, you guys, already done and joined. On to round 7. We're back using white here, and then we do 1 chain at the beginning, 1, 2, 3 single crochet, double, single, double, and now it's 5 single crochet here's in between. Okay, so we start with 3. I know, of course, we start with a chain, sorry, just 1 chain, and you want that nice and tight actually, even though it's more difficult to work into it, but it's better to have it tight, yeah. And now we do 3 single crochets always into the back loop. And now we're going to do 1 double crochet, and this is actually good. So yeah, okay, I'll show you this. Sometimes I get questions about how to work double crochets into another double crochet stitch, and it's really just the same as if it were a single crochet. It doesn't matter. You just work into the front loop of it as you would with the double crochet, with the single crochet stitches. You see, now we're going to do a double crochet into this double crochet here, and we just work into the front loop like normally. So yarn over. Go down here into the front loop of the double crochet from round 5, pull your yarn up, and then we have 2 and 2 like so. Yeah, so that's 1 double crochet. Then we're going to do a single crochet into the double crochet and another double crochet down here into the double crochet from round 5. Yeah, you see how it's getting to be like little boxes. And now we have 5 single crochets in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, we have a double, single, double now. Double down to the white, to the double crochet from round 5. 1 single into the double crochet from last round, and the double goes down here afterwards. So we're framing up this double crochet from round 6 really. And again, 5 single crochets in between. Again, double, single, double. This pattern is very, very easy. Well, that's why I picked it, because I just want to show you guys the joining technique really. Okay. And again, 5 singles. And now we're coming to the end of the round here. We're going to do a double, single, double for the fourth time. Double goes here, single into the blue double, and the double goes down. And now we finish off the round with 2 single crochets, because we started with 3 and we've always been doing 5 in between the double, single, double here. So now we have 2, 1 and 2, so that's a total of 5 single crochet stitches we have in between here. And now we join, as always, picking up the next color, color B, which is the upcoming color, pulling at it nice and tight so everything is really nice and lovely here at the join. And we're going to join with color B, the upcoming color, into the back loop of, we're going to skip the slip stitch here, as always, the last stitch of the round. And we're going to join into the back loop of the first stitch of the current round. Okay, just to make this extra clear. So the stitch that we're skipping is the other color. Yeah, so we're always going to be skipping the last stitch of the round is not the color that you have up on your hook, but it's the other color, the opposite color, the color B here. And you're going to join into the same color that you have up on your hook. Okay, so we skip the slip stitch, we join into the back loop of the first chain, the first stitch we did of the current round, which is the same color as we have up on our hook, and we're going to join with the upcoming color, the blue, with 1 slip stitch. And it's this 1 slip stitch that we will then skip really at the end of the round. But the slip stitch that we're making is this one here. So this is the one that we'll be skipping, yeah? Okay, so that's joined now. Round 7. And it's just 2 more rounds to go then, actually. On to round 8, which is 7 in the chart. So it's blue that we're working with here. We start with 1 chain at the beginning of the round. Then we do 2 single crochets, 1 double, 3 singles, 1 double, 3 singles, 1 double, 3. So this is a like 3 in 1 like before, but we start with 2 single crochets. Okay, as always, we start with our chain. See, this is the chain here that we will be joining into at the end of this round. So try and make it tight, because that's nicer. Should I say it again? Do your joining tight. Feel like a bit of a fascist there. But really, really, it is important. If not for you, just do it for me then, please. Okay, concentrate, 2 single crochets. Yeah, so always into the back loop, because we're doing single crochets. That's 1 and 2. And now we're going to be doing the double crochets here on each side of the double crochets from last round, you see. So yarn over into the loop that we're working into, and pull your yarn up, and 2 and 2, and then there's 3 single crochets here, over, and another double. Yeah, so in this round it's always 3 single crochets and 1 double. That's the repeat. Nice and easy, easy peasy. 3 and 1, and you can see the pattern emerging here now. So it's sort of like little boxes inside of other little boxes. And again 3. One double, 3 singles, double after this double here, 3 singles, 1 double just before the double from last round, 3 single over these. The first one lands in the double crochet and the third as well. Yeah, and now we finished. We started with 2 double crochets, so we should end with, yes, okay. Oh my God, I was just like, no, I'm doing something wrong. I forgot. I have to do 1 more double crochet here. Yeah, and then we just have 1 single crochet here then, because we always have 3 single crochets, 1 double. So we had 2 here, and now we do 1, and that's a total of 3 in between these 2 here now. Okay, and on to the last round. And as always, we're going to just, I don't think I can repeat this. If you've gotten it, you can just have turned it off, but just to be absolutely clear here with the joining, and this is the same for all my chart patterns. I always do my joining like this to keep it, well, as neat as possible. As you can see, I mean, it is a join. A join is always a join, so it's going to show. That's just, this is handmade, and we're not hiding that. We're proud of it being handmade, yeah? But you want it to be as neat as possible, obviously, and always do it very nice and tight. And this little trick of skipping the last stitch and joining into the next one makes it so that it stays in the same place, which is also, let's face it, I mean, I'm a hippie and all, but we don't want our join to be like going all over the place. That's too much, even for me. So we skip this last one here, which is the slip stitch that we used to join at the end of last round, and we join into the back loop of the first stitch, the chain stitch that we did at the beginning of the current round. Okay, so these are the ones. This is the skipped one, and that's another color than what we're working with, and we're going to join into a stitch that is the same color as we have up on our hook, but we're going to do the joining with the other color, the upcoming color. And this was actually the last round of color B, so I'm just going to cut that off here. And now there's just the last round that we have left, and that is white again. And so when we do the joining here at the end of round 8, we just pull nice and easy, nice and tight here at our upcoming color, so that the slip stitch here that we're gonna skip is just really not, we don't even want to work into it, yeah. And we're going to join into the back loop of the first chain of the round. So as you can see, you're joining into a same color stitch as is up on your hook, and you do the joining with the upcoming color, so it pops up at the right spot. Just a simple, oh no, yeah, there we go. And you join with the upcoming color, so it pops up at the right spot. No, what is happening here? Is this just typical? Yeah, there we go. Okay, it kept splitting. Now it's not. Third time's a charm, you guys. So join with the upcoming color through the back loop of the chain stitch there, just with a slip stitch like so. And now I'm just going to continue straight into round 9, the last one. And there you do 1 chain at the beginning of the round, then you do 2 double crochets, 5 single, 3 double, 5 single. Okay, so we do 1 chain here, all very nice and tight, tuck at everything at the join, and we're going to start with 2 double crochets. They go down here, like so, and then we're going to work single crochets over these here. Five single crochets, and now there's 3 double here in between the double crochets from last round. 1, 2, and 3. And now 5 over here. Always 5 and 3. 5 single crochets, into the back loop, and 3 double crochets down 1 round into the white, because we have white up on our hook. And then 5. And another 3 doubles here. And now we end the round with 5 single crochets, and then we're missing 1 double here at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we do 1 double here. Okay, so that was the 9th and final round, and I'm going to join using my normal invisible join. And so when you finish the last stitch here, if we were now, let's imagine that this is a little, I don't know, cushion, tiny little cushion. So now we finished the last stitch, and I'm not going to do the normal joining after my last round. After my last round, I'm going to pull to the last stitch of the last round. Before the joining, I'm just going to pull the yarn all the way up like so, and I'm going to do the invisible join here. And remember, the invisible join makes up for 1 stitch in itself, so we have to skip 1 stitch here, the first one, yeah, and insert your hook from the back under both loops of the 2nd stitch of the current round, this last round, yeah. Pull your yarn through so, and you see the stitch that we're making will end up being on top of this first stitch of the round, yeah. And then we're going to insert our hook into the last stitch of the round, just into the back loop under it like so. Oh, sorry, wasn't looking at the camera there. And pull your yarn through like so, and then pull at it a bit so that it's nice and tight, and then the join looks very nice here. You see, I mean, it is a join, you can see it, but that's just, you know, relax, nothing is under control sort of situation, because a join is a join, you guys. That's that's the way of life. But then you can sort of, and you can see it more here with the where there's a double crochet than when there are single crochets. And now I have to turn off the camera because I have to get my needle, my darning needles. Okay, found my needles. And now you would want to, well, obviously when you're doing your ends, you want to turn it inside out, like so. And we're gonna weave in all these ends, and I'm gonna keep this one here, the one at the beginning. I'm gonna leave that one for last because that's the one that you really sort of need to do with care. And actually this one, the last one, is as well, because remember we finished with the invisible join, and then we always have to take care when we weave in that end not to do it too tightly. I know I've just been spending this whole video saying do your joints tightly, but you don't want to do this last one too tight, because you want to see, you want this stitch here to have the same gauge as the other ones, right? So just tug at it a bit and see that it's at the same gauge sort of, and then you can put your finger here to hold it in place when weaving in the ends. Yep. The other ones, really just tuck as much as you can. So that it's all nice and tight.
all for being, you know, happy, joy, and not to sweat things. But when it comes to finishing touches like this, I'm just a bit of a sort of a textile fascist. Sorry, but it is worth it. You know, it really is. And you do want your finishing to be nice and tight and neat. Okay, I found my darning needles, but I didn't find my nice scissors, so it's just these industrial ones here then. And this last one here, I'm going to do that from the other side actually. Because as you can see here, there is a little bit of a gap here. I'm going to show you in another yarn, but so we can, I would be inclined to do a little bit of fiddling there just to make it look nicer. So I'm going to do the joining here because we didn't do the join, remember, at the beginning with the chains. We did it after the first round, so I'm just going to do the joining here manually now, just like so. And I mean, you can see the join here, so you could, I'm not going to do it now, I'm going to fight my urges. But you see, and even like if you just tuck at it a bit and make it look nice, then it's better. I'm going to show you on another piece that is bigger actually, where you can tell that it doesn't show very much. Okay, this is very, how do you say, thick, coarse, thick yarn also. It's Aran weight, so it's more noticeable. Okay, like so. And again, yes, we can see the join a bit here in between the double crochets, but these here are quite nice. And you know, a join is a join. Relax, nothing is under control. But let's do it the best we can. Yeah, so here we have this little, I think it's safe to say, completely useless piece of swatch, but I don't know, maybe you can put it around something like a jar, like these. This was just something I was doing, but it's bigger obviously, so you could do more repeats and put it around a jar like this one, for example. I really like this one. So this is then the finished swatch for how to make mosaic crochet in the round, and this is the join, you guys, which is noticeable but quite neat. And I'm going to show you, let's go white here. I'm going to show you on my Arabia pillow. That is my latest work in the round. That it is actually whopper. Okay. It's just something that fell there. Okay, so here is the join on my Arabia pillow. Are you seeing this properly? How to... So, and these are all double crochets, as you can see. And you can see the join, but, and here actually I work one stitch back, so the pattern goes over the join. But this is all double crochets here, and you can see the join. You can just see a bit of these white spots here. But I mean, I find that it's quite acceptable because, like I said, you know, a join is a join. This is handmade, and I feel that that's okay for that to show, you know. But do make it as nice and neat as you can, of course, because that's just satisfying and grand. So there you go. Was I going to show you anything more? Yeah, I think I was going to show you on this one here that, like I said at the beginning, you can make it so that the pattern fits completely, like I did here, for example, which I just showed you. Then I always did like the exact repeats, and then the pattern fits over the join. But I have been known to, like, if I need a specific amount of stitches, like here, it was more important for me that it fits the jar, that the piece fit the jar, than to have the join need. So here you see I just stopped at that point. I just did as many stitches as I needed for it to fit the jar, and then I just had to join here. And I mean, I don't know. I'm fine with it. But obviously I will, you know, when I place it in my house, I will, you know, place it like this. But you can have the join just if it, although it doesn't fit exactly the pattern. I don't know. It depends on your OCD levels, I suppose. But obviously it's nicer when it's like this one here. I think this is, yeah, this is the join side here. Trying to not knock more things over. So this is the join here, and this fits here. The pattern fits, but still it's a bit, you know, you can see it's joined. You can see it always more when it's the double crochets. There you can really see this little stitch here in the middle, but I don't know. I like it. It's handmade. It's nice. It's fun. So pillows, cushions, what have you? These little purses. You can also make handbags. I mean, cowls, maybe. It's just a lot of possibilities of what you can make with Mosaic Crochet in the rounds, and I hope that this was helpful, you guys, and that it was all clear. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for today. Ciao.